we need to know a little bit, understand the quality of Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Without knowing, just people said that, Buddhism said that this Buddha is very special person, very powerful, therefore we have to refuge Buddha. Then we don't have any idea who are the Buddha, what quality does he have, what he protect, how he protect for us. Therefore we need to knowledge is very important to understand from study about Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Then second, the refuge true lands, they talk about bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is also motivation. Now, benefit all sentient beings. Therefore, I am going to practice, I am going to pray. Like that, Then most people, they know, but this is very important, refuge, bodhicitta. All the time, we have to think about a little bit that. The Buddha is, at most people know, first Buddha is not just person become Buddha. Same as us. 2,500 years before he was born in India. Everybody heard that story. Anyway, same as us. Then he saw that all the sufferings and the age, death, and all the suffering he found, he see. Then he think about what? Any way to get away all the sufferings? Then he tried to meditation. Then when he abandoned, he cheap, and the reality or result of the bodhicitta or realization, then he come out, then he teach for us. Okay, this is my experience. Then if true or not, you can check. He completely give us to the free of, investigation. And also he talk very, very, very similar to our
very similar to our way of life.
Right? Not just that Buddha is just here, that he just talk about here, he not, come down the ground, not like that. Then usually reality our mind is the surfeit or all those delusions, not mixed together. The surf, separate. Our mind is the clear. For example, our clothes suffer from the dirt. What do we say, dirt? I think that you guys maybe never get dirt. I think most people change every single day, right? Yeah, then you guys have not much experience how to become dirt. Then maybe go to India, Nepal, then you know. Example like that, and I have a lot of experience, Then when I was growing up that place, we had one T-shirt. When we start wearing, we enter to complete, how do you call it?
Rag?
Yeah, rag, finish. Otherwise we never wash. I think I already told you guys, my story, my father's. He said, I went to the hot water, how do you call this?
Hot spring.
Hot spring, maybe 2-3 years ago. I watched that time. They never wash. Then of course our body has a lot of dirt. Then they wear clothes, a lot of dirt come together. Like that, then I think maybe now also the younger generation, they keep a little bit clean, not same here in India, Like that anyway, our clothes is not same as the dirt. But you have a lot of dirt, then you cannot much see difference. Or the dirt go inside the all the clothes. Then, but it is if you wash, it will go away, right? If you wash, they will go away. Same as that, our mind is separate from all the delusions, attachment, anger, jealous, hatred, like that. But right now, because the delusions has more power, our clear mind is the follow all the delusions. Therefore, we always easy to get angry, easy to jealous, easy to hate attachment. Therefore, now we time to clear, wash, put the dishwash. The laundry of the dishwash is the dharma. You don't need to put chemical. Dharma is the real dishwash. The dharma is is a Buddha Dharma. Buddha who give for us the experience here, teaching. The real Dharma is his teaching, his experience. Example, he said, okay, guys, don't be angry. If you get angry, you get a lot of troubles. Then we try to, okay, I'm not angry. That doesn't work. I said, I'm not angry, that doesn't work. You have to, a result of the angry, what they bring. And angry result is not good, right? If they are very, I always talk, maybe 2 days, one family is here, maybe father's birthday, maybe mother's birthday, or maybe one kid's birthday. They are very delicious, meal, special. The little alcohol also there. Then they start to eating. Then something wrong, maybe husband, maybe wife, maybe kids, they will get angry. The one person makes all people unhappy. Or result like that, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, if you think about result, then easy to cut off the cost. Always very important to think about result, not looking for the action. Therefore, always thinking the result, angry, jealous, attachment. What they bring the result for us. Then slowly, we the Buddhism believe the many lives, future life, past life. Sometimes we born cows, cats, dogs, sheep, people, then we create the many different, negative karmas. A lot of different karmas. Therefore, we have many negative karmas. Even if we say, I didn't do any bad things this life. We believe, yeah, we didn't, we don't kill, really, big things here, We doesn't do any very bad things in here, but we really kill, we really save a lot of negative karmas, our mind. Therefore, when the conditions meet, then all that result become
Fruition.
Yeah.
Results ripen.
Yeah, it will ripen, right? Therefore, always think about the faults or results or the angry, attachment, jealous, hatred. Then, 소소 땅지체 기침. 소소 땅지체. 땅지. 소소
따버진 거.
소소 따버져. 소소 지워져.
So it is important to investigate about oneself.
Right? Then a lot of things we have not enough to the contentment. Our possession, our anything. We have not enough to contentment. Therefore, we always say, oh, like more. Then we don't get whatever we want. Then we get unhappy, uncomfortable, right? And when we are uncomfortable, this is a soften. Therefore, this who bring this is contentment, not contentment. They bring to our the soften, right? No, usually you guys got whatever you want. All right. For example. Anyway, I think you guys, most people really got whatever you want to eat. I think you guys really got. All right? It's easy to this country. Just go to shopping. You can choose whatever you want most. The main thing is that's something
So whatever we wish for will not be accomplished.
Right? And you guys get whatever you wish.
That we wish like the fame, the name, and the possessions and so forth.
Like that countries. Therefore, contentment is very important. Therefore, anyway, Buddha's teaching is the subdue our mind, change our mind. If we don't change our mind, then Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, nothing to do. Right? If you get very good daughter, he give very good medicine, but you don't eat. It may be very good nurse, she or she put in your mouth, that she doesn't swallow. The medicine doesn't go to your mouth, body, right? The medicine doesn't work. This is not medicine's fault, this is our fault, right? We don't use. It's exactly like that. We heard Lord Buddha, we heard Lord Dharma, we heard Lord Sangha, we heard Lord Dharma books, we study also Lord, but we didn't connection our mind. We didn't do what Buddha or teacher of the text said. We didn't do. We study Lord. We study in Dharma's here, our here. A big gap. Right? Maybe elephant we go. then, we study Dharma, our Buddha. Dharma doesn't work because we didn't do that. We didn't. That's what some
Or even applied to our mind.
Therefore, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter. It's Buddha Dharma here. You know how you do. You know what's good or what's bad, but we didn't do ourselves. Therefore, it's nothing to do. Therefore, it's very difficult. It's not easy, but just think about in the morning you get up, set up the perfect motivation. Today I'm going to walk. I'm taught to be a very honest person, very nice to my co-workers. I mean, usually you guys will go to work, you see the co-workers, very nice face each other. I don't know what you think in the mind, But the face is very nice. You say, hi, how are you? Very nice. But even you show the very positive face, people like, right? They bring the love. The morning even today what's happened, I've tried to my best. I can control by myself. Usually we cannot control ourselves. This is very bad. In motivation like that, today I'm very honest, very humble, very nice to all my co-workers. Then you have very good motivation. Then it's possible to become better day. Then tomorrow like that, every day. Then when you come back, maybe that day you have something wrong, maybe you get maybe angry, maybe you're jealous of someone, then you will come back home, that you are not very comfortable. When we got angry, that time we don't know what are we going to say. What are we doing? We are just completely lose our, how is that?
Sanity.
Yeah, sanity. I don't know what we say. Concentration. Yeah, that's concentration. We don't know what we're going to say, what we're doing, we didn't see our actions, Therefore we say very bad words, very harsh words. Then when you come back home, then you must look at something here missing here, right? Because this is the course you do today. Then you say, okay, today I did very bad. Then you got it. Jobachi, shabachi.
Regret.
You regret. You reset that. Bodhisattva mantra. 37 Buddhas. Prayers. You passport, okay? 35, okay. Prayers on Umbenza Sadhu, right? Like that. Umbenza Sadhu is Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva mantra. Special for the purification. Like that, then Jopai goes, and Jopai means Shabbat.
So it is important to have a regret in order to purify the negativities. Without regret, there's no way you can purify the negative karmas.
아니 Jopai 요네 Shabbat 치와이나 Jopai 타로, Jopai 타지와 디페르.
So if you will purify with the regret, then it can be purified, and that is the good quality of the negative karma, is that it can be purified.
Okay, like that. Then in every day, then maybe tomorrow better, then better, every day better. Then how much do you control our mind? We are more comfortable. We are more relaxed. I think most our problems, they are not contentment. Contentment, and we have very strong ego. You guys say ego?
Yes.
No, I'm the right person. She's wrong. He's wrong. You say, oh, she doesn't know. Always. We are always strong ego. We say, I'm the best person, Usually the monastery, the teachers teach for us. You go to puja, hundreds monks, we each other, face each other, like this, and here also like that. Then you can check, okay. You look okay.
From the top of the roof to the bottom of the roof.
You look the monks, okay. Oh, he's a good study that, but he has this problem. You can see oh, he's not there. He doesn't know anything. Oh, he's nice study that he has this problem. You can find each one. Then who has no problem? Just me. Right? No, we're looking for all the force. Therefore, you go to Kurukulla, you can see now, oh, she's nice, that she's too much. All the fun. Then we say,
So it becomes only oneself who is perfect.
Okay? This is an idea.
That's the pride.
Pride, right? And okay, of course, maybe you are good. You have also problem. Somebody good does something like that. You always not looking for others' faults. Always the Guru Rinpoche said, don't look for your guru's faults. If you looking for the fault of your guru, you can find. Therefore, because they mix you don't get any qualities. Because you find the more fault, then you doesn't accept or you don't have enough of faith. If you doesn't follow he or she's advice, then you lose your opportunity, right? Because whatever we listen, then we believe or we accept, then he or she we accept or we believe, then they reverse for us, we listen, right? If we say, okay, we just same, I don't want to listen for them, then because we doesn't listen, we have this strong ego. The Guru Rinpoche said, you have the faith of your Guru, as a real Buddha, you get benefit of the Buddha's benefit.
Buddha's blessing.
Buddha's blessing. If you think you're just same quality with you, then you don't get any results. Therefore, the main thing is not looking for always others' faults. If you're looking for others' faults always, that makes you lose more opportunities. Therefore, try to always best how much much as we can. Like this is very important. Then now today we have to, last week we were talking about experience death. Usually we don't want to hear the word, right?
No.
But it's one day coming. If we accept or not, doesn't matter. This is 100% coming. Example, yesterday, 2 days, they say 100% Sunday, big snowstorm Boston. It's not 100%, right? But if dead is 100%, it's come one day. In the last week, we explained to one person, he or she died, that if I'm the person, how can I feel it? You just experience like that. Now, this is, I think, today's day 10 or day 11 something. 11, then enter to day 12, they talk about the sufferings of the hell realms. You don't want to hear that, right? But I think this is very important to know. Usually, we Buddhism believe to, I think all the religions believe to hell realm, right? Everybody? There are any religions? There's a heaven, hell, that everybody believe?
More or less, yes.
Most, right?
Yes.
It's some different in some religions, or you don't, follow the Buddha's advice, Buddha or even God's advice, you go to hell. If you listen, then you go to heaven. There are many different ways, but I think the most believe the hell, what we call it, hell realms. Bad place to born. But Buddhism also believe something that. Then,
So as you know, according to Buddhism, we believe in past and future lives, right? And because of that, then we, come to believe in the karmic law for cause and effect. So if we don't accept the existence of the past and future lives, then it is a little bit difficult. It becomes a little difficult, to really understand about the karmic law of cause and effect. So we're not believing in past and future life just because it is said by Buddha. If we do, then we are stupid to think, to believe in that way. So it becomes a blind faith, right? And so, just like His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, mentions, to even to the Tibetans, that we have to be a 21st century Buddhist. And since we are all here from the 20th century people, so what does he mean by the 21st century people? Is that in the past, the most of the people who were devoted to the Dharma would just believe in Dharma just because such and such Lama said or such and such holy being said. But now the science and the basis of the education has developed so much that people are able to investigate about what is truth and what is not truth. And so based on that, now we have to also investigate about the teachings, why it is like this, why it's not like that, not just not believing just because Buddha said or some holy being said it. So now we have to understand why there is past and future lives, right? So how do we come to understand that? Not just through believing in what somebody said, but we have to prove it to ourselves through reasonings, right?
근데 이제 다 간주 위보 인생절에 될래야 진이요 그러더라고요. 얘는 이제 세다. 이제 이제 직단 통역으로 미다로 마다.
So whatever things there are that has two kinds of causes, they call it substantial cause and then the auxiliary cause. So it's just different in the name, given to different kind of causes. But anyway, so any kind of thing that come into existence, any kind of functioning things, right, that come into existence has this kind of two different causes. So it is not something that has to do with only Buddha's religion, but it is how things are, right? So the causes are the substantial cause and the auxiliary cause. So the substantial cause is the cause that transforms into the result later by itself. And the auxiliary cause is like the condition, so that helps that cause to fully develop into the result. And so let's say about this cup, whatever it is made of. Let's say it's made of china, right? And so it is similar. The stuff that is used to make this cup, and that transformed into the cup, right? So that's the stuff, the china or the clay that transformed into the cup, is the substantial cause. So it's not a cup, let's say it's made of clay, right? So it's not made of wood, it's not made of iron, right? And so because it is not made of wood or iron, therefore the iron or wood doesn't become its substantial cause. So it is the clay, right? So the piece of clay that was there, it's soft and round and whatever shape it was, and then it was formed into that shape of a cup, right? And then it became a cup. So the substantial cause of this cup is the clay. So same with any other stuff, like for example this table. So the table is made of what? It's wood, right? Wood. So the wood, is the substantial cause of the table. And so this the wood that came from the tree, right? So the tree was grown in the forest, and then the tree that came from the seed, and all this becomes the substantial cause of this table. And it's the same with the fruits, right? So of course it's easier to understand the fruits, right? So there's a seed that changes into the fruit, right? And so if there's a seed of the orange, then it changes into orange. It grows into orange. It doesn't grow into apple. So from the apple seed only comes apple. There doesn't come orange. So that's how things are, right? That's very easy to understand, since you have all studied about science. You all accept that, right?
Yeah.
And same with us, the people, human beings, right? So we have a body and a mind, or the one that we call I, right? And so I and body are different, right? So the body is, this is my body, so I am different from my body.
뭐 들리다 당연히 라야 막 가지 소수 되지 많이 지금 되지 생각이 다 년에 제가 말해서 다 리피트 것도 왔어.
And so logically we can prove that something that is not the substantial cause of that thing will not be able to produce that thing.
대가서 리피트 류로 지나 안에 빠데 치러와야 안에 저만남 되나야 남시면 남시기 년에만 봐 그래 공도 좀 나고도 좀 지키라고 그러더라.
And so that's the reason, I mean the logical reason, and also there's a scriptural reason, which is mentioned in the Pramana Vertical or the value cognition by Dhammakirti, where he says a mind which has a mind which is not a mind cannot be produced by non-mind, right? So mind cannot be produced by something which is not mind. Right? Because they are of separate substance. So the substance of the mind and the substance of the non-mind, so that which is not mind, are different. Right? So substance of the non-mind cannot produce the mind.
드리드 탄나도 근데 시도도 쪼대서 나도 빼하고도 그 년龄 지지 고요만 하고도 something 고도도 와.
So from the example of the table and the cup, we can understand that it needs some kind of substantial cause, right? So that which transforms into the table or the cup.
그렇죠. 이 쪼재 성에다 쪼재 소재를 잘라도 아니 렌지시도 와.
And then anything that help for that wood to transform into the table. Right? So the tools, the person, and the electricity or whatever is used to help to make this table, those becomes the auxiliary cause or condition.
드리지 말에서 다 가지고 지탱이 지금 뭐 가르치지 말에 대략 년龄 지지 고위와 코로나 제지 인기지 아니 코로나 와라 제지 인기지 놓고만 가지고 싸움도 나고 왔어.
And so therefore now with that example we can understand that everything that exists, every functioning thing that exists has to have its substantial cause, right? The substantial cause, that something that changes into it.
그나마도 배역이 또 드셔봐나 되게 대절하다 배고도 왔어. 레그 대서나 레그 또 들으면 배도 들어가면 왔어.
And so so if it is a shirt, right? The shirt made of a cotton, right? And a shirt made of a wool. So you will call it a cotton shirt, right? You will not call it wool shirt.
그래서 월급이 또는 영화나 인지 뭔지 저거는 월급 좀 인고도 왔어.
So why is cotton shirt cotton shirt not a wool shirt? Why is not? Because it's not made of wool, right? Because there's no substantial cause. The substantial cause of the cotton shirt has to be cotton.
그래서 지탱에 다닐라 레그 소족이 또돌라 배도 돌라고 말았어.
And so so in our daily life we will not call the cotton shirt a wool shirt, right?
다 대나도 레라고 하고도 지금 관계 하고도
So that's easy to understand, right?
Yes. 다 대나지 다 대링 가서 대링 가서 부모이도 와서 부시 대링 가서 부시. 대링 수보대 계산 수보대 대지 심마 가정 수보대 대링 그 수보대 그 년기 장로 그래서.
And so that is in rough, right? In general, right? So the wood, is the substantial cause of this table. So that was when the table was made, right? So now the table has been there for months and years, right? So today's table, what is the substantial cause of today's table? So there's the continuation of that substance, right? That produced the table. So that continuation. So today's table, is yesterday, right? So it came from yesterday's table. So today's table came from yesterday. So yesterday's table is the substantial cause. So yesterday's table turned into today's table. So yesterday's table became the substantial cause of this today's table. So same with our body. So our body today, right? So like say, 40 years old, 50 years old body. So today's body is the result of yesterday's body. So if there was no yesterday's body, there would not be today's body. So today's body came from yesterday's body. So yesterday's body is today's body's substantial cause. Make sense?
아주 티네저 저도 티네저 부부모 주로 들고 수보대 이거 년행이 딱 내리 심하지 당당하도 다 로스없이 쉽죠. 아니 모든 모처서 말아봤어.
And so this is a substantial cause of this body, which was there from the time we were born, even before we were born. I said our parents, the sperm and blood, and so that cause, that was, and so that continued. That substantial cause continued like to our teenage, and then from there, whatever we turn into now, 40, 50, 60 years old. So those are all the continuation of the substantial cause.
대 이거 니마 지금 저서 말아봤어. 아니 로 다와 니마 아니 샤 아니 주스 까마데야 반지로 그러봤어.
So the transformation into a 40-year-old didn't happen overnight or in a minute or two, right? It happened through long length of time, so years, months, and days, hours, and so forth, right? Or minutes and seconds and split seconds.
어떻게 아니 깨지 남아든 지기라 깨지 심화된 걸 바꾸는 거 어떻게 되는지.
And then it, as it transforms, it disintegrates, right? And so the first moment is gone, and now it transforms into the second moment. So the 1-year-old is gone, now it's a 2 years old, 10 years old is gone, now 20 years old, like that.
됐다 때가서 때다 거기도 와. 중도가 단다 수보대 엄마 중도 티네이저 갖고 수보대 대지 심한 중도 캔에도 살아봤을 때 빵.
So it's the continuation, it's the continuation of that substantial cause, right? Or the subsequent, of that substantial cause. So this body is the subsequent body of that teenage body, right?
Right? Very nice, beautiful, very young teenagers, boys, girls, body become now. It's not all that, It's 30s, 40s, we are same age. This body is continue.
So that substance, continues. That substance continues through this life, right?
다 두지 파파파파 데려와나 아니 먼저 다 아마사니 또 고베나 대 고베나 영화다요 주복이 되게 다 밤을 그려 된 거예요. was
so then when we trace back our body, we trace back to that teenage, and then to the young, the infant, and then it goes all the way back into the womb, right? And then starts with the sperm and egg, right, from our parents.
근데 다 되게 딱 그래. 그다 영화도 강사 실마시는 영화로 was.
And so now that the substantial cause, the actual, the sperm and egg, that came from somebody else, right?
두지 파 데려와나 다 파만 파 데려와나 두 사람에 와라 거기. 다른 거죠.
So we can go very far like that, right? So then, so that sperm and egg come from our parents, right? So now our parents, when they go back, to their source, then they came from their body, came from their parents' body, so our grandparents, and then again we go back like that, great parents. So we can go all the way back, to the time when the human being first started.
어떻게 다 담보 스트레치에 생각도 자학을 우수치려야 라인 맞춰 그래서 이 공부를 성적을 라인 맞춰 시도지를 하기.
So we can go back all the way to the Adam sample. According to the Indian, religion or philosophy, it said that they first started, from the God realm. So there's somebody came from the God realm, onto this earth, and then they had something, and then that's how it started to produce, more and more human beings like that.
당한도 수보자한테 같이 가서 주시 봉보 주시 봉보 아파트 주시 파텐도나 가서 나는 스트레치에서 가서 저렇게 가셔도
And so it is difficult, for us to understand where it really started from. Right? So if we go back, to our parents, then our parents to their parents, and then their parents like that. So it's really difficult to reach, to the beginning point.
근데 당하고 맨날 어디지? 다 대는 찍바지 장가도 시바야 대는 찍바지 장가도 들어와. 되는 게 시바데, 그런 시바데 되지 아마 되지 심어로 와. 또 파텐도 와서.
So just like body, the mind is also a functioning thing, impermanent, functioning thing, and therefore it also has a cause and condition for its production. Right? So today's mind, came from yesterday's mind. Yesterday's came from day before yesterday, like that, this year's, last year's, and then it goes all the way back, to the time when we were conceived, right? And so then the mind that was conceived in our parents and our mother's womb, is the mind that started this life. But then where did that mind come from, right? And so it goes back again.
그리고 대용 삼아라 진정이 시바등아도 다다 아마 사치원도 맞다 가도 계스된 예소잖아 그러고 계스된 예소잖아 팅해라 바도가 차대 그래서 아주 말 너네만 가디 쇼와이나 아니 바도사도 들은 거고.
And so so that mind, it didn't start at the womb, right? At mother's womb. It got into the womb, and so it was conceived in the womb. And so that means it was there even before that. So where did it come from? Where was it before that? So that was when it started the birth of this life, right? And before that, so according to the teachings, we call it intermediate state, right? So pardo, intermediate state. And then before that, there was the death, and then there was a birth again. So from there was life, and the person died, and then they went through the intermediate state, and then went into a birth again. And so just similar to that. So when we die in this life, we go into the pardo or an intermediate state, and then from there, then we'll find a birth again, and then we'll be next life again. And so, so that mind, which conceived in our mother's womb, actually came from the intermediate state.
Yes.
Respectfully, couldn't it be that the mind was produced substantially from the substantive cause of my brain being, made into something?
다때 텔레비에 되려고 당가도 때 나비가 식당 레바가도 단 레오심셔요 와서 나탄 얘네 정문에 레바가 말했어 레바 사람도 다 배목을 들어왔어 시바사도 쌀이 자꾸 배들어 가리나 그럼 레오셔요 그래서
지나가서 지나다가도 셰바세도 즉 겨울에 겨울에 셰바죠 대지한테 내가 왜 셰바백 지금 깨요 안 되는 여러 더 좋아요
들려요 보세요 내가 그거 깨요 시바 콜레바가 들어가는 거 봐서
So, like I said earlier, when we talk about the substantial cause, so the substantial cause of the mind has to be mind itself. It cannot be a non-mind, it cannot be a matter. And so matter cannot produce a consciousness. And so anyway, so yes, it is very strongly related. The mind is very strongly related with the brain. So brain is a very important part of the body, and it is very sensitive that it can produce the mind, certain kind of temporary mind. So when we're talking about the mind here, it is the mind, is the consciousness that came from life that goes from life to life. Of course, we can produce different kind of minds. There are so many different kind of minds. So we're not talking about the primary mind. The secondary minds, like the pain, the feeling is also a mind. Right? So when somebody says something, or when somebody touch and you get the feeling, that feeling is also mind. So that is produced by touching, to a certain part of your body. So that can be produced, but the actual mind, the primary mind, has to come from the mind.
Okay, but isn't it difficult? Also special for you guys, never heard that. You guys also used to do that, scientists to explain how our mind or brain, what's it, brain work together. Of course, you guys are not easy to understand, easy to accept that, because you're really used to it.
So you're used to the way it has been explained by the scientists.
Yeah. But now the scientists also working with them, with Buddhism philosophy. There's an answer that Nambega Shuna and it new Tambo new to then it's report to
So in Buddhism, first you prove it, scripturally. So in the scriptures it says like that. So you believe it that. And then after, not just, then you're not satisfied with that. Okay, so the scripture says that, but how is it really like that? And then you go into the logical reasonings. Not just scriptural reasonings, but also go into the logical reasonings to prove the things, how things are. So nowadays, in this world, people mostly believe in what the scientists say, right? Because the scientists don't just say like that, but they say it because they can prove it that way.
아니 맞을 라마지 라마 빼다 개발 선들어 보시 사이트에서 다 국바 국자랬어 모델에서 나고 그랬어 그거 걔는 말했어.
So one of our this time, one of the greatest master of this time, Sando Rinpoche, who is the professor at the Tibetan University in Varanasi, he's just maybe jokingly saying that scientists are stupid, dumb.
He doesn't accept because this is really good reason. For example, we say okay. He asked someone, a scientist person, I think some picture or something. He said, this is come from very, very long time, something story. He asked him, he said, do you check or someone told you that? He said, someone told.
Yeah.
They showed you a complete ignorant model. Because you didn't check, you didn't investigation by yourself. You said, someone said that. It looks like very true, Now, example, we say some medicine. We say, oh, this is very good for some kind of sickness. We say, how can that good? Because the doctor said. We don't know that. Or us. We say, oh, because the doctor said.
Right.
Look like if he got that Kurukulla Center, they really don't shoot this.
So it is ignoring, like in our case, right? So we believe in doctors, so we don't know ourselves that the medicine is really good for this, but we believe that medicine is good for this because it is said by the doctor.
This is not, I'm not saying scientists is better, okay? I'm not saying that. But example like that, Now Buddhism said, Buddha said, but now you have to check. It's true, it's walk by yourself. So
whether it makes sense to your mind or not, so you can check that on that.
Then it started.
So it is difficult to say when this body really started. I mean the substantial cause of this body when it really started.
And Jeji said that
so for it to be substantial cause, it has to be of the same nature. That we all accept, right?
when they thought depth so the show the korangi and ta chi mo chi ba kari so na tema to shin rao kari chang rao so na nam de show so ma was.
So for it to be a paper, it has to be made of a paper, right? I mean, made of something that is similar with the paper. And so if it's made of iron, then we'll not call it paper, right?
Today that two jene ben na zo chozo densa ta thasa sam ro yona kadina treja jane jawa do pe shu jaga res. Ni ko la ta chewa chi so.
So usually this is what the purpose of debate is. So like you might have seen, but seen or maybe in real life or in the videos and so forth, that where the monks are debating all the time. So this is what they're doing, investigating.
Well, some people thought they were going to fight. They're not really fighting, but they're really emotion to investigation. The things, whatever we talk about, Example, we say, okay, the body is, what do you call it?
So if somebody says there's no beginning, to this body, there's no beginning to this body, and then I want to say, so okay, is there no beginning? Then when did it start it? So if there's no beginning, then it should not have any start, right?
Right.
And didn't it start at this time? Was there this body? Was there this kind of body before this time, and so forth? So you can investigate it. You can debate in that way.
Because they doesn't just accept, Buddha said, the Indian masters said that investigation, they have to understand the social something no one.
Yeah, so you investigate until you really experience it yourself.
Okay? And when the monks get debate, the real during that time they don't care, even they push very far away, they track, very even we call it tonga. Sometimes we tongas red. They pile out of it.
So sometimes they push each other to make their point, so like say two people are debating, asking question, and then one asks question and the other asks question like that at the same time. So you want to know, my question is to be answered, and he wants his question to be answered. So I will push him away, for me to debate and to him. And so that time, if it looks like people are like fighting or something, and I will pull him away. So I will pull him by his clothes, and that will rip his clothes. But people will not get angry.
Like anyway, this is they're going to not just play, they just go to investigation, they're checking, Like then, television attack shiba papa tendawina, kanze sari kiti shiba tig and yeling jet young haman he was talking to the
and so anyway, so if we investigate, the how this mind, the mind, and how it came into this life, and so if we go trace back, to the time in the past, then it keep on going back and back and back, and then it goes back, to the next, to the previous life.
도중 가서 다 가로. 쉐와도 바도니 바로 깨wan다도 바도니 바로 다리 못 깨워 말해. 단단 알아서 아니 용어식에 땡치는 간저고 다 속세 그러면 시바디 다 섬대로 와서. 대마만 냠내는 담아다 루나던 루기 니바 냠내 가도 속세 시바 다 속된 섬대로 니바 그디 냠는 것도 시세다니라고.
And so there's just like there was the past life, and then there will be a future life. So when we die, we go into the intermediate state, and then from there it goes into the birth state, and then comes starts the next life and so forth. So there's no big gap between death and the life. So that can happen very easily. And so right now our life is being supported by these four elements: the fire, water, earth, and wind. So all these elements will dissolve into the wind, and then when the wind dissolves completely, then that's what we call death. So and then when that happens, then we go into the intermediate state.
근데 된지가 우치는데 소녀마다 나도 시사와도 아니 나도 수보대 보고 다 변을 하대요. 와서나 난게 시바 샘진 가사대 다 살기 전에 다 넣었을 돼요 말이죠.
So when this the body that supports the mind is completely gone, so like it dissolves all the way into the wind, and then the wind also disappears at the end, and so then there's nothing to support it, this life, the consciousness, and then consciousness leaves the body, and so the consciousness leaves the body and it continues to the next life, but the body just remains, it gets buried, cremated, and so forth, but the mind, the consciousness that left the body, continues to the next life, so it goes through the intermediate state and then to the birth state. So therefore, when we go back to the next life, the previous life, go back to previous life, and then there was a previous life of this life, right? So there was again, and then it goes back like that, and then there was a previous life of that previous life, and then that previous life like that. And so when you go back, there's no beginning, because there is a previous life of every previous life. And so because of that, because we don't have that, because there's no beginning, so that means we had countless lives, right, in the past. And so during these countless lifetimes, we had countless mothers, right? So people who have been our mother, because we were born. When we were born, and then with that we had to have a mother, so there was like countless mothers, right? So all these the countless beings who were there have been our mothers. So all these countless lives that we had, and so there's no way we can find a single sentient beings that we can say we're not related with that. And so it is very obvious, that because of that reason, that's very obvious that we had some connection, right? So you're listening to me and the teaching and translating and all these things, has to do with some kind of connection that we had in the previous lives.
배 룸바 도배 룸바 사고 누구들이 제좀 만드네. 얘나 당당 가서 내가 냠도 지네. 다 주디 체셔 뭐 당도 지. 저와시면은 용 말고 왔어.
So, for example, you are born in this environment in a fully developed country like America, and then I'm born in a place like in a very remote place in Tibet, in the mountains, in the nomad family, and how it happened that we are together here now. If we didn't have some kind of karmic connection from previous life, that's not very likely to happen.
진짜 말아서 깨워 놓으면 가능시 여봐지. 근데 되게 깨려오대 다 내가 가서 준속 센터에 여봐라. 근데 되게 깨지는 가서 루지야 용 같은 거라서.
So those are the causes, right? So we have created in the past because of that, and we're happy to come together and discuss about Dharma here. But then also those are the causes, and then there's conditions. The condition is like the Dharma, the center, right? If there was no center, maybe this would not happen. Right? And then all other people who brought, this center together, starting with Lama Sopa Rinpoche, and all the people who worked so hard, to bring this center into existence, is the condition for us to be able to be here together and discuss about Dharma.
근데 내가 가능시 매와 있나? 냠도 되나 가나. 내리 잡고 다 그래. somebody 깨고 말서.
And so even if we didn't have that karmic connection, created a karma in the past life, then even if we were together, we would not meet, and let alone talking about Dharma and discussing about it.
뭐 근데 이제 레제 섬지만 민체바 사 탐지지방 코는 제에도 손으로.
So, but what kind of karma did we exactly create for us to be together here? Right? Nobody can tell that. Nobody can tell except the omniscient one. So only the Buddha can say. So that's why it is very difficult, to understand about the karma in that sense, in the details. Of course, cause and effect we can understand, but to understand in details like that, what exact cause or action did we create for us to be able to meet together here? So that cannot be told by anybody except Buddha.
So how can you how can you demystify the root cause of the cherry-chin eye that seems to cause all the nature of the karmic seed to come to a point of cessation, to experience what strikes me so much about the nature of the path, to come to a point of cessation, not just on an intellectual realization, but to really demystify the nature of transformation from the point of death, which is the choice. It would, from this conversation and the nature of this conversation, that the nature of death is also a choice by the nature of karma and how you conduct your path, you conduct the path. So that point of decision, which looks from a point of view of a mind possessor, that it looks like that you don't have a choice. But the point of cessation and the regret seems to be intrinsically connected within the path. And that demystification in health and karma is very crucial to understanding oneself without the I cherishing, because early on in the conversation today, it was very clear that the separation from mind to the elements. So the elements, we go through the process of the organic elements, but the mind is the one that one needs to train to that point of cessation. So we look at this totally with freedom. The freedom to die happily. So the birth seems like so large, but maybe death is truly the point of cessation of a very large karma. I'm really paying attention to how to pay attention without getting caught into the events, the circumstances, and to appreciate death. How to appreciate and demystify it. And not say I'm just a victim of karma. We have to be very, very, very attentive here.
So what was your question?
Demystification of the point of cessation. I repeat, okay, I'm going to be impatient right now. Demystification of the point of cessation between the birth and the death, so that death is demystified by the nature of how I see people reacting, so that we have the confidence in ourselves as a human journey, as a human species. I'm not going to just sit here to entertain my mind, to be happy. I want to really understand. That's why I'm asking you, if you are coming from a country that really understands the principle of death in the skull, in the wind, you talk about the wind, you talk about very profound energies in health. So I'm a seeker. So I need to really confront that energy in myself. And I'm not just going to sit just to be happy in myself with colors. I have to understand it. I see people suffering every day. I see people dying every day. So that compassion of the point of cessation to demystify the birth and the death, those are the 2 points that I see clearly in the beautiful teaching here. That's why I'm thorough.
So maybe I didn't understand the word demystify. What is that?
Oh, demystify means to make clear.
To make clear.
Yeah.
Like
So-
a clear passage. To me, death is just a very clear passage. It demystifies, it's a point of cessation within our own breath. You shared today something important about the wind. We leave the body, the wind leaves, the breath stops. We are a mind possessor. We are not that which we think that we are. My grandmother, she told me a beautiful teaching. She says, you go into the mirror and you look at yourself and you think that's what you are. But then you think, oh, I don't like this and I don't like that. She says, you break the mirror, but you really change yourself. That's what she said. So I'm looking at this very understanding of the point of cessation in myself, of all these karmic seeds that create so much problem, interrelated, of the mind possessor and the cherishing I. I'm really paying attention.
원하시는 데들이 속상한데 치워서잖아. 치워서야 돼 속서. 데 장마 쉬고 그랬어. 뭐데 다가스 때문에 기부 당는 말했어. 근데 뭐네 쉬고 그랬어. 데 컨트레스 거다. 너도 때문에 다 쓴다. 치워서야 돼 가다. 치워서야 돼. 맞아. 속 채워들 치워서 그랬어. 근데 치워서는 다 그나다 맞다. 중화시대에서 많이 양서 되는 그래서 그래서 그 다다가 쉬고 데 마신 딩무스. 대전 모델에 뭐 다스키 보통 레버스.
배나 다다는 가도 라이봐. 배나 가도 초매도 왔어. 초매대 가리기 전에 막 마케팅 쇼도 나가고 맞고 다 양아를 나와. 되게 양락에 니바도 가디 돈은 그 매대 데려오고 왔어. 다들 좀 무서워 시도한다 속세 샘세다 무서워야 돼. 근데 좋은 중화식이 쇼였더니 딱 쪼대었어. 중화식 막 지니 반영에 다 라스트 롱이 속에 선대. 근데 롱텔라 소스는 니바도 가디 냐마 아니 먼저 속체스.
So just like the example, like the candle, Geshe was using the candle. So candle is, is lit by a wax, right? So as long as there's a wax there, the fire will be there. So when the wax comes to end, when it finishes, then there's no more fire, right? So so then something that holds the fire, the wick and the wax, right? So that holds the fire on the candle. So when that's gone, then there's no more fire. So it's similar to our body, our life. So the life support, like we talk about the 4 elements. So the earth, fire, water, and the wind. And so these all, as long as these all are there, the life will be there. The consciousness will stay in the body will be alive. And so at the time of death, at the natural death, in the natural death, and all this will disappear. will dissolve or disappear, slowly. So when this decays and disappear, then there will be no support, for life, for mind, to be in the body, and that's when the mind, the body is no longer useful, to hold the mind, and then the mind leaves the body. And so that is the cessation, of the life or the end of the life. And so, and that's what we call death. The term death, is described like that. And because there's no, support, to the body, then there's no heat in the body. The fire element has gone. There's no heat, so that's why when people die, the body becomes very cold. So that's like a short verse. We can go into detail, into very extensive explanation, but just in a short like that. And so the teachings explains about all these different kind of signs that will come at the time when we will die. So then people will know, okay, when I'm about to die is because I'm seeing all these signs now. So then from that you can tell that you're about to die. And so, then again, when we talk about the wind element, which is the last one, so to dissolve, to decay, and then there's two kinds of winds. So there's the external wind and then the internal wind. So internal wind is the wind that really holds the mind in our body, and so the external wind, when that stops, like that's when we stop breathing. So when the person stops breathing, that's the external wind is no longer there. But there could still be a very subtle internal wind, which can still be there. So that's why some high lamas who are trained with them in meditation and can meditate at that time. So when they see that, and then they use that subtle mind and subtle wind to meditate on emptiness or to meditate on some kind of teachings. And so when they're meditating on that, then their mind stays there. And so that the wind, the subtle wind is still there. So as long as the subtle wind is there, the person is not dead really, even though he doesn't breathe. The external wind has stopped, but the internal wind is still there. So that's why some lamas, even after they die, they can stay for like a couple of days like that in meditation. They call it in lama state in meditation. That's what it means. They're using the subtle wind, subtle mind, to meditate on emptiness or some kind of teaching, to remain for several days after stop breathing. So it is a little difficult from my point of view, because I don't really have much experience about that, to explain exactly what happens at the time of death, when the subtle mind or subtle wind is manifesting. So recently a very high lama died in Great Monastery, and then after he stopped breathing, then his mind, his body, still fresh. It remains fresh. So only when it's completely gone, then it becomes cold, and then it starts to smell and all these things. So until then, until the subtle wind has stopped, the body will still be alive. Still will be fresh. It will not smell and so forth. So it may smell if you don't take shower like that. So that kind of smell is there, but the smell of the corpse doesn't happen until the subtle wind is completely stopped. So this lama, stayed in meditation for like 16 days, 16 days and night. So that's like sitting in a meditation. So use that mind, subtle mind, and the wind, to meditate on emptiness and so forth. So that can last for a long time like that.
그래서 다 대단 장을 요송도 전주가봐야 다 사이트에서 줘서 용데 다시 적으면 때문에 가려 용도 맞아 근데 여가 라 맞아 딱손 용어 말와 배자는 손샤가 맞아 세면 봐 가로 삼로 땅에 들이 송거로 와서 다 대라 사이트에서 다시 적으면 장을 용어 송도
And so at that time, sometimes the body will make a movement also. So the body will sit like this, maybe we're looking here and looking there. So His Holiness said, you should put a camera, 24-hour camera there.
Wow.
So then you can investigate, what he really did. Otherwise, today you look at it like this, he's looking here, and then tomorrow he's looking on that side. How it happened, really, you don't know. So, nowadays, His Holiness said that scientists have so much, facilities and so many advanced equipment that they can maybe check what's really happening, to the mind of that body at that time, when he's in that state. So it's really definite. It's really true that people can stay in that kind of meditation after they stop breathing. So, like for example, when we fall asleep, our head will fall, right? So because there's at that time, this kind of wind or whatever element that's supporting the head, it goes to sleep also, right? So when that element is not there, then it knows, right? Goes to sleep. It falls, right? But when you're thinking, when you're awake and you're thinking and talking, your head doesn't fall, right? So you're still. So that also, shows that the consciousness is, working in different ways at that time.
Therefore, yesterday, Tamshi told some story.
So I was telling Geshe about this an old man who is 85 years old, and in Nepal, in Kathmandu recently when I was there. And so he passed away, and he doesn't know anything about teachings, but he is very devoted. So he does the circumambulation of stupa every day, like maybe 100 circumambulation every day, and of this Bodhana stupa, which is quite big, it's quite a bit of a walk. And so he does that all the time. He's a very, very, very kind person, always very smiling, very nicely talking. So a really devoted, very dharmic person. So when he died, he called his children and he said, "Oh, everybody's here." So, and he told them, "None of you will cry when I die, okay? And you should just, I'm not suffering, I'm very happy, so I live my life very well, so don't worry about me, just be happy. No one's going to cry." And then and then while he was there, sitting there, and then somebody was reading a text to him and he was listening like this, and then he sit like this, and then he just died. And he died and his body was still like this, he didn't fall. And so his body looking very fresh, and so it shows that his consciousness has really not left yet, and it's the subtle wind, even though he stopped breathing, that there's no breath at all, breathing at all. But he didn't fall, and he's just sitting like this. And so that, maybe, so in the case of a person who have practiced Dharma and who has really trained their mind well, can be going into meditation. But in some cases, like, people who are attached to, to something, their mind, is focused on something, so their mind is focused, thinking about something, your mind, like meditating, right? Meditation means like familiarizing your mind with something. So when your mind is, caught, to something, your mind will stay there, right? It will be very attracted to stay there. And then, in some cases, it could be like that. So some normal people, ordinary people, when they die and they stay like that, could be like that. So the high lamas could be, meditating on emptiness or something. And of course, it's individual based, so we don't know what this old man was saying like this. But anyway, so consciousness can stay even though the breathing has stopped from externally.
Like that, then Buddha said, don't judge each other. And don't judge the people.
Judge.
Judging, he's bad, she's good. Buddha just him, because the Kansa says, Mada, Kansa says, and then when he went to the Labeda, Chimbamana, Oji,
So this sounds like Buddha is being very arrogant. He said, people cannot judge about people unless they are like me. It's true, right? So Buddha said people can't judge people. The ordinary people can't judge ordinary people, and unless if you are enlightened person like me. So if you are enlightened like a Buddha, and then you are omniscient, then of course you can say, who's doing what. So until you're enlightened, you can't tell that old man who is sitting there, after stop breathing for a couple of days, can't say that, oh, he's just an ordinary person, he might not be meditating on emptiness. Can't say that, right? So that's what Geshe was saying, that people can't judge people. And so that's why it is encouraged not to cry, in front of the people when they're about to die. Don't make them unhappy. Don't make them, like worry and so on and so forth. So make them have a positive mind. So therefore, maybe talk about Dharma, talk about reciting prayers, doing meditations, reciting mantras and so forth, or recite mantras in front of them. So when they hear the mantra, then they will think about the mantra, right? They will think about the teaching. And if they die with that kind of positive thought of reciting mantra and thinking about the teaching, then that will help them to have a good rebirth.
Okay, anyway, today the main thing we have to go that maybe not chance gone, but the main point we have to talk about is after that we talk about the suffering of the low realms. But suffering of the low realms, we need to understand a little bit cause effect. Cause effect.
And so in order to understand about the sufferings, you have to understand about the cause and effect. So what caused that suffering, right? And in order to understand about the cause and effect, really accept that, then you have to understand about the past and future. So example, so you say you have something happen to you in this life, and you say, oh, this is the result of your karma. But if you don't accept that you have a previous life, then when did you create that karma? You say, oh, I've been a very nice person all my life, and why is this bad thing happening to me? So to really understand that, you have to believe in past lives. Like, oh, so I must have created some bad karma in the past life, that's why I'm experiencing this. And so like that. And then you can think about other people also who are going through a very good time when they're doing very bad in this life. Right? So why is that? And then if you understand that there is a past, a future, or past lives, then it will make sense to you to understand that this is the result of the good karma that they have created in their previous lives. So therefore it is important to understand about the past and future lives. So even among the children, from the same family, right? So the parents gave them same kind of education, same kind of life, but when they grow up to be a very different person, right? And so that explains why are they like that. The cause and condition in this life was same, right? Cause and condition in this life was same. From same parents, same level of education, same kind of care, but they become different people. Why? So some people, they become very successful in this life even if they don't work very hard. And some people, they don't become successful at all no matter how hard they work. Right? So that shows that there is some cause and conditions that is providing for them to become such and such. And it's not necessarily that cause and condition is all created in this life. So if we have some understanding about the past and future lives and about the karmic law of cause and effect, then we contemplate on the sufferings of the lower realms and all these things, then it will make sense to us. So somebody who has never dreamed, if you explain to him about dream, he will not believe in it, right? And so somebody who has dreamed about it and dreamed in the past and then knows about the dream and so forth, then to that person, if you talk about dream, then that person will also accept and may have some more things to add to that, right? And so in this text, it explains, all the sufferings, of the lower realms, the hell realm, the hungry ghost realm, the animal realms, in a very detail about each and every suffering that they go through. So there are six realms, right? So the lower realms and the upper realms. So the upper realm, human, demigods and gods. So we are humans, so we are in the upper realm, happier realm. Yet we still have so many problems, right?
Right? Always problems, something wrong.
And worse than that, if we are born in the lower realms, as an animal, as a hungry ghost, or as a hell beings, then there's even more sufferings, more problems. And so what causes one to be born in the lower realm is the non-virtuous actions. So if we don't want to be born there, then we should stop creating non-virtuous actions. And so in this teaching it explains what is the sufferings of the lower realm and what causes the sufferings of the lower realm. And then it explains, so if you don't want to experience that suffering, then don't create these causes. And so similar to the sufferings, the hard times that we'll go through in the prison. So if you go to the prison, then this is this kind of sufferings you have to experience. And if you don't want to go to prison, then you should not break law. You should not commit any crimes, and so forth. So, and then it explains, so what are the crimes that will lead you to be, thrown in the prison, and so forth. So for that you have to know what is prison, what happens in prison, and so forth. So if somebody who doesn't know about it, he says, I don't care. Even if I have to be in prison, I don't care. Because he doesn't know. So then only when he comes to know that how much suffering there is, then he will think, oh no, I don't want to go there. And so in Buddhism it explains about all the sufferings of the lower realms, in the hell realm, what kind of sufferings you have, and what causes one to experience this kind of suffering. So if we don't want to be born in the hell realm and don't want to go through that suffering, then we should not create this kind of suffering.
Okay, this is about the temple grounds. Then also read a little bit this. Then I'm not planning to go to very, very details there one by one. Maybe we can just a little bit go around to know.
So you can read the text in detail, in each and every word in the text, but Geshe is just going to go through a brief explanation of each section. And so if, because maybe you might not accept this, many of the sufferings that they explains about it in the text, and so it might not be pleasant to hear, so there is no point forcing you to listen to it.
Therefore I'm going to tell next was a little brief, not just one by one. We can read, then just a little bit pick up, not the same as before, like that, okay? Thank you very much. Then we stop.
Thank you.
Your question maybe not yet, because we have something.
Okay, we'll do another.
Is she ready?
Okay, turn to
Okay.
page 39.